fish. We the ones that you wanna get with. Took a couple L's, rung a couple bells. Real ones, too legit for Pointel. Straight shooters, all troopers. Me and the guys ain't never been losers. See a nice little thing, we pursue her. See a nice little, yeah. I'm moving with a purpose, bigger than a service. You can never, even if you rehearse this. We own it, yeah, hurts it. Big difference, that's worth less, yes. All we do is impress. Put the work in, never mind all the stress. Said you don't mind tests when you better than the rest. OG 101, it was all in the prep. Yeah, we some legends in the game. If you're scared to embrace it, then how you gonna change? Yeah. Smart change, I'm just saying. That's like, man, you control your destiny. Sit it with your mind frame. You go hard from the gate. Every day, clean slate. And patience is a privilege. I ain't got so I win. OG, big fish. We the ones that you wanna get with. Took a couple L's, rung a couple bells. Real ones, too legit for Cointel. Straight shooters, all troopers. Me and the guys ain't never been losers. See a nice little thing, we pursue her. See a nice little thing, we pursue her. Yeah. OG, big fish. 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 Grand rising to all. Happy Monday. It's the first show of December. We are excited. The first show of December, and we got a lot to talk about. Unfortunately, the news cycle just keeps on giving us things to discuss, relevant things. We got, what do we have today? We got Joe Biden. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, you guys can hear me, see me. We got Joe Biden pardoning Hunter Biden. They said it would never be done. Well, it seems like it's happening right now. So we're going to talk about that. Let me actually pull up my notes. Hold on. Why are my notes not loading here? I'll just use my phone. Gotta have it backup. So what do we got today? All right. So we got Joe Biden. We got an interesting interview with Stephen A. and actress Jennifer Lewis. We're going to dive into that. We got some old videos to review of Elon Musk, of what separates him, in my opinion, from everybody else and why he's able to do the things that he does. We actually got a video from Method Man predicting everything that is going on right now, perhaps. And then we have, we're going to talk about some of these companies that are abandoning DEI. So I think we had Lowe's, like the Home Depot Lowe's. Then we also had Walmart, which is the largest employer of Americans. I did not know that. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So we got a little bit of things to bounce around. Let me see if I can get this queued up a little bit right here. This doesn't want to sync. It's all good. So we'll use the phone. I should use my phone. How was everybody's weekend? Hopefully everybody had a great weekend. I was able to, if y'all have never seen that show, Gangs in London, y'all need to check it out. Maybe for, excuse me with that, maybe for only as a reminder that getting into certain lives, making certain decisions, we are always going to be held accountable for our actions. And I think it represents, or a lot of things show up in Gangs of London. First off, it's very violent. So if you're not like the violent type, I look away from all that stuff. I don't want that in my mental. But it does serve as a reminder that everything that we do, we are going to be held accountable for. Our actions have your actions have certain responses that are going to occur within you, certain things that are going to occur in others. But all of these, everything that we do, every decision that we make, it's going to have it's going to have a result based on the decisions that we made. I feel like I'm looking for a word. What word am I looking for? When they say your actions, every action has a proper reaction. Well, I don't know, but yeah. So maybe check that out. And I'm reading. So the new challenge for the week is to read 20 minutes a day. And I think we have a lesson from one of the books that I'm reading, Christopher Columbus, later on. I may have to grab that somewhere, but I think that it's pretty relevant to what we're going on right now. I decided to read this book on Christopher Columbus's 4 voyages just because I wanted to learn more. I wanted to learn more. I wanted to learn exactly the things that he was writing in his journal. I want to learn what was his perspective, what were his consequences. There we go, consequences. I'm looking for the word. There you go, Uncle Brother always coming through. But I was very much interested in the person that they say discovered America or rediscovered America. What were his thoughts? So I'm getting into that, and I'll share any lessons or anything that I feel is enlightening or groundbreaking and earth-shattering that we may not have known with you guys as I come across it. So shout out to Uncle Brother in the building. Appreciate it. Oh, I didn't even write my Grand Rising. My fault. Grand Rising, good people. My fault. Yeah, I know we got to start off with that. All right, so let's get right into it. Let's not play any games. Let's not waste any time. I believe we have a video from first and foremost, I should ask you all, what were your thoughts? Well, are you aware that Joe Biden is pardoning Hunter Biden? First and foremost, are you aware? Are you aware? Is that something that bothers you? Is it something that doesn't? Joe Biden had said for a very long time that that was not something that was on the table. I told y'all that I thought that Trump was going to be the person to pardon Hunter Biden. And I thought that that would be something that would be worked out between them. But then I'll be honest, when things escalated with the war, because think about it, Trump met with Hunter Biden and they discussed whatever they discussed. And one of the biggest things that Trump wants to do is to stop the war in Ukraine and Russia, between Ukraine and Russia. And I think when Joe Biden gave the green light to escalate the efforts of Ukraine and to use American missiles, I'm sure that Trump was not happy about that. And I thought what was growing to become a great relationship, or what could be a cool relationship between Trump and Biden, I thought that that would fracture it in some way. And perhaps it did. So I don't know. What would you do in that situation? What would you do in that situation if you're faced with having to or not have to pardon your son? What would you do? So we'll get into that actually a little bit later on. The first one that I want to get into is actually, or should we get into the Hunter Biden right now, right off the top? Hold on. Maybe we'll get into it right now. All right. So we'll listen to a little bit of this article. We'll listen to a little bit of this from CNN, and then we'll get into the other videos on Stephen A. But since I'm talking about this, I feel like we should just continue on from here. Hold on. Craig C said, Grand Rising sounds like something Kamala would say. I don't know why you would think that, but I mean, it's what I say. I don't know if you've been watching the show for a while. It's how I always start the show. And I don't think anybody would mistaken me for a Kamala fan. Let's talk about Project 2025. Craig C, it seems like Craig C, I'm gonna judge you already coming in. Seems like you should have your own show. But we're happy to have you here. But I could tell you're already coming across as an opinionated type of person. But we're happy to have you here. But it seems like you should already have your own show, because you seems like you have a strong opinion. I'm always pushing people to use their voices to speak on their own. But we're happy to have you here, and we're happy to engage. But we will not be talking about Project 2025. But if you want to do so, then let us know where we can find your show, and we will tap in there. So let's look at this President Biden video. Let me share the screen, and we shall get into y'all thoughts on it. Matter of fact, Craig, what do you think as far as Joe Biden pardoning Hunter Biden? Give us your thoughts on that.
I believe is with us. Jeff, can you hear me?
And Jessica, yes.
Okay, what are you learning?
Look, we are just getting a statement from President Joe Biden. He's saying that today he signed a pardon for my son Hunter, and he goes through the reasoning why. Of course, Hunter is facing a sentencing later this month, but this is really a monumental moment for President Biden. He said.
So, all right. So real quick, because Craig just responded. So Craig said, I would do it for my son. And such a simple statement, but I think that's what it comes down to for most people. Like, how can you not pardon your own son when you have the opportunity to, right? But then, and this may lead into that whole nepotism DEI conversation that we have later on. I think it's totally different, but I think that there are some overlaps. Joe Biden has the privilege, being president, to pardon his son. All of the people that Joe Biden is relying on to vote for him do not have those privilege, do not have that privilege. So therefore, in my opinion, when you look at this across the board, everybody's been saying the Democrats have lost the working class, right? The Democrats have lost the working class. So do you think that it's a good strategy when you're trying to appeal to the working class to do something that everybody that you're asking for their votes would not have the privilege to do so, but you do it anyway? And you've been saying all along, my question would be, why have you been saying all along that you're not going to do it? Why have you been saying all along that you're not going to do it? And to me, because when you become president of the United States, in my opinion, or when you're leading in anything, when you give special treatment to somebody that is directly connected to you, it sets a bad precedent. Now, he may not care because he's on his way out, but be clear, there's a reason why he's been saying all along that he would not pardon his son. And in my opinion, this just continues to make the Democrats look more and more like the people that they supposedly complain about. It's like you're complaining about all these elitists. You're complaining about the Republicans and how they don't care about the common folk and how they only care about the people that make a lot of money, the people that have a lot of privilege. But look at how people are looking at the Democratic Party right now. And maybe this is one of the reasons why people were attracted to Donald Trump, because you have the Democratic Party that has already been accused of using the government to put all these charges on Donald Trump. Perhaps maybe that's what they're doing with Eric Adams. But you have a Democratic government that's already being accused of taking advantage of its power. So in my opinion, this kind of goes to show the same thing. So I think this is why Joe Biden was walking on eggshells with this and not willing to say earlier that he would be pardoning Hunter Biden. I know he wasn't going to say it before the election, but let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Several months ago in June, when he was still seeking a reelection, that he would not pardon Hunter Biden, but now we are learning he is. And let's just read through this statement quickly together. He said, "Today I signed a pardon for my son Hunter. From the day I took office, I said I would not interfere with the Justice Department's decision-making, and I kept my word, even as I watched my son being selectively and unfairly prosecuted." So this is a fairly long statement, about 4 or 5 paragraphs from President Biden, but really going through why he is making.
See, and for me, this is a question that a lot of people that voted Democrat have to answer. I spoke to a lot of people when Trump was going through his stuff. And even though the majority of people that are non-biased and can look at it from an objective standpoint, look at the things that Donald Trump is being charged of. And I'm talking about from a legal standpoint, but then just from I'm just looking at this situation standpoint. Most people would agree that the things that were happening to Trump were excessive and would not have been happening to Trump if he wasn't Donald Trump running for office. If he would have just probably stepped out the race, he wouldn't have been charged for a lot of this stuff. So here you say that you're doing something because Hunter Biden was treated unfairly in his particular process, but then you're the person that's using your power to put somebody else through an unfair process. And people can see it. So I don't know. Does that change anything as far as from the minds? Because the people that I spoke to that were Democratic supporters and saying, nope, Trump's got to deal with it just like everybody else. He's got to go through the process just like everybody else. He's got to be up. He has to be held to the same standard as everybody else. Well, Joe Biden pardoning Hunter Biden shows that he does not have to be held to the same standard as everybody else, because he has a dad that can get him out of his issues, pardon him, and make everything go away. Now, does that make people like you all, the people that I'm talking to that voted Democrat, especially the ones that are more moderate, does that make you all more attracted to Joe Biden? Does that make you, when you hear the Democratic Party speak, do you think that they're being more genuine, or does that maybe bring about some caution or bring about some questions? I don't know.
making this decision. He also goes on to say this. He said, no reasonable person who looks at the facts of Hunter's cases can reach any other conclusion than Hunter was singled out because he is my son, and that is wrong. He goes on to say there's been an effort to break Hunter, who has been 5.5 years sober, even in the face of unrelenting attacks and selective prosecution. So, of course, Jessica, let's take a step back. You obviously covered the Biden campaign along with me, and this is something that Hunter Biden has been dealing with. This was a tax case, a gun case. He went through his trial in Delaware. There was another case in Los Angeles. But this is really the culmination of President Biden really making the decision tonight to sign a pardon for his son Hunter, not just a commutation of a possible.
And I think it brings about another interesting point of just being real. If Joe Biden would have came out and just said, and now I don't care either way because I wasn't supporting Biden either way, but I'm just as an observer, in my opinion, I don't know if it's a cultural shift, if it's a political shift, if it's a communication shift, but the way that we communicate is becoming like being direct communication is back in style. Being direct, being honest, not sugarcoating, not having the politically correct statements that a lot of people make, not having the Gavin Newsom, the Barack Obama, Bill Clinton seduce me with your words, and then nobody cares what you actually do because we won't pay attention once we like you. Donald Trump is known as somebody that communicates very directly. Joe Biden and the Democrats, what is their reputation? Of saying things and not getting them done, or saying things and appearing to have no intent of getting them done. They could try, we tried with the student forgiveness, the loans. We tried with this, we tried with that. They wouldn't allow us. They tried to shut down the border. Trump called his people. There's a lot of inconsistencies and just a lot of things, in my opinion, that are said, but are not directly said. If you wanted to pardon your son, I would have just said from the jump, like, look, this is a tough decision. Obviously, for all those that have kids, this is one of those decisions that, I'm in a tough bond. I'm the president of the United States. I do not want to give my kid unfair treatment. But, what would you do? And I think a lot of people that would resonate with. A lot of people can relate to that, because I think 99% of people that are in this position are going to help their kids. At the end of the day, you're going to see that as your number one responsibility. I don't have kids, but I'm just looking at it from a standpoint of what my parents would be doing. They're going to try to do any and everything to get their children out of trouble. The only problem here, in my opinion, is that Biden lied about it or said he wouldn't do it for so long. And now he's trying to wiggle his way in to say, well, I still kept my word because I didn't interfere with the case. We'll listen to another minute and then we'll move on.
Sentence, but a pardon, which certainly will be part of President Biden's legacy going forward.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And as I'm reading this along with you, Jeff, I think one part at the very end is particularly striking, which is where he says, I have followed a simple principle. Just tell the American people the truth. They'll be fair-minded. And here's the truth. I believe in the justice system. But as I have wrestled with this, I also believe raw politics has infected this process, and it led to a miscarriage of justice.
So politics is impacting this, and it led to a miscarriage of justice. Is he talking about Hunter Biden, or is he talking about Donald Trump? And I saw Craig C. wrote, let's be real, and this comes from a Trump supporter, not a Republican, though. Trump wasn't treated unfairly. Yeah, I disagree. I think that Trump was definitely treated unfairly. He was, in my opinion, he was treated unfairly by the system, as well as the perception that came to the media. I just think that he was treated unfairly. I think that what's going on with Eric Adams, I think that is definitely motivated by, now I don't know whether Eric Adams is guilty or innocent, but I believe that was motivated by him calling out a lot of his Democratic colleagues, by him calling out the people that brought a lot of the migrants to New York City. Nobody had an issue with Eric Adams until he started calling people out and calling things out. And now everybody, well, he likes Trump. He's on Trump's team. He's this. We're going to indict him. All you got to do is listen to Letitia James and Kathy Hochul Oh, you can't tell me that Letitia James, the energy that she speaks with, it's not something a little bit more than her job when she's dealing and addressing Trump's issues. She's still talking about Donald Trump won the presidency, and Letitia James is rounding up the troops, acting like she's about to stage a civil war against Donald Trump. So it's hard to me to take seriously what Joe Biden just said when he's been the number one person as president, allowing all the things that have occurred with Donald Trump and weaponizing the government against him. Now, this is just my standpoint. Clearly, Craig thinks a different way, but let's keep going.
And once I made this decision this weekend, there was no sense in delaying it further. I hope Americans will understand why a father and a president would come to this decision. It is interesting to also hear him saying, essentially, that the justice system was politicized.
And I see your chat, Craig. So Craig says, same reason Trump said he was disassociated with Project 2025 and lied. You said that earlier that you wanted to talk about Project 2025. What's your favorite part of it? What's your favorite part of it? And first tell me what's your favorite part of it, and did you read it? So tell me what your favorite part of Project 2025 was, because it sounded like you were a fan of it. Or or tell me if you're not.
Which is something we've heard from Republicans and Donald Trump as well.
We certainly have. And
so let's ask this question, and we'll finish up with this video. Let's ask this question. Based on, now she just mentioned that these are a lot of the same things that Donald Trump has been complaining about. So if you have Donald Trump complaining about the justice system being unfair, and then you have the President Biden on the other side complaining about the justice system being unfair, when people get mad or say that Donald Trump's going to come in and destroy the government and RFK Jr. is going to take over this and Elon's going to take over this, is it not working? If you have both sides complaining about it, doesn't that mean that it's not working effectively and efficiently? So is that something that should be teared down? I'm just asking. I'm just asking if we're looking at it from the standpoint of both sides are complaining about this. If both sides are complaining about it not working the way that it should, not standing up to certain principles that it should, doesn't that mean that we should consider tearing it down? Or even if you don't think that, my question would be, why are we complaining about something so much? And then when somebody offers a solution to address the problems within that, when you have a RFK Jr. come in, and we know that the Food and Drug Administration, we know that Big Pharma, we know that these healthcare, the way the healthcare system works is not beneficial for the actual people. We know that we're being fed garbage. We know that we have a culture that is unhealthy and that profits off of us being unhealthy and naive. So we know all these problems, but then we get mad at, well, RFK Jr. is coming in. He's going to, it's like, these are the same parts of the government, companies, regulators that we complain about. These are the same people. And I remember Joy Behar saying something about, well, RFK Jr. is going to come in and all of these experts, now they're going to want to leave and RFK Jr. Well, if they're experts and they're working there and it's not working and they're not stepping up and addressing a lot of these issues that are killing us, whether it's the food ingredients, whether it's maybe other things that we may be taking, then so what if somebody comes in and gets rid of them? So what? Let's hold on. Let me get rid of this real quick. Ant, what's good, bro? All right. All right. Craig C said, my favorite part is the whole campaign. They said it wasn't a thing until he was elected. I feel duped. Why do you feel duped, bro? I don't understand what things. I asked once again, did you read Project 2025? Did you read it? That's all. That's everybody that talks about Project 2025. It's the funniest thing because every single person that I've asked about Project 2025 who complains about it, when I ask them like, yo, did you read it? They're like, nah. But should I be surprised? Most of us follow religions and we've never read the scripture. Most of us commit our lives. We get on here. I got all these family group chats of people telling me that my cousin's asking me if I accept Jesus as my Lord and Savior. I just had a conversation the other day with somebody. So you don't think that Jesus died for your sins? And I'm like, well, it's like all of these, you pledge your life to something. You say that this person is your savior, but you've never read the book. You've never read the book that the religion is based on. So if your job tells you to read something, you're going to read it, right? Oh, but if religion, something that is supposed to be more important than your job, something that is supposed to be your cornerstone, establish your principles, your foundational values, all these different things, it's not important to read the book. So I'm not even surprised. But let's keep going. Let's move on to what's the next thing that we'll go to? All right, so let's move on to DEI and nepotism. So I want to share with y'all this video, but then we're going to have a kind of a different conversation that is based on more DEI versus nepotism. There was my buddy sent me a post saying that the same people that have a problem with DEI are okay with nepotism. So I said, let's talk about it on the show. Why not? And Zappa wrote, Project 2025 has nothing to do with Trump. It was a wish list for after Trump is gone. Zappa, I'm with you, but apparently Craig knows something that we don't know, but it's all good. It's all good. And it's like, even if Zappa, even if it has something to do with Trump, let's say that it has something to do with Trump. Nobody, if you're really that concerned with it, why didn't you read it? Why didn't you read it? Because I read the beginning of it. I read about like maybe 200 pages of it. And I mean, it was 800 pages. And the things that I was reading in it, I was like, oh, that makes sense. I actually learned a lot when it was breaking down the government and the bureaucrats that have a lot of power that are not voted in, but they end up being some of the policy makers, people that we're not even voting for. They end up having a lot of power in our government that we're not even aware of. They don't have to, it's not a performance-based type of thing. Everybody's given their bonuses. Everybody's awarded things. The same people stay there for years and years and years. So a lot of times the people that we voted for, the politicians, they end up having less power than the people that we didn't vote for, because the bureaucrats that are there, you can't fire them. So I don't know. Zappa wrote, Craig is nothing but a parrot. So, I mean, I don't know. I'll let y'all two go at that. But Craig, I got to admit, it doesn't seem like you're coming in with much substance in your statements and your arguments. But feel free. I asked you a couple questions. The questions are still out there, so let me know if you're willing to answer those. And let's get into this Walmart video. My apologies, my fault. Share screen, Walmart CEO. Boom. Let's take a listen.
A great American company and the nation's largest retailer, more than 1.6 million American employees alone, and annual global revenue of nearly $650 billion. So I'm happy to say we're joined now for an exclusive interview with John Furner, the president and CEO of Walmart US. John, thank you very much for joining us. I want to get into holiday shopping. I want to get into grocery prices, but I got to ask you off the top to talk about this report I'm reading in today's Wall Street Journal about how Walmart is pulling back on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs under pressure from a conservative activist. So a few of the changes here: phasing out the term DEI, winding down the Center for Racial Equity, no longer giving priority treatment to suppliers based on race or gender diversity, and preventing sellers from listing some transgender-related or themed items on the website. So is that accurate from what you're hearing, and why the changes?
Well, first of all, good morning, and thanks for having me. It's great to be here. I'm in Houston, Texas, in our Friendswood location, so it's exciting to be in the store this time of year. First, let me say, like many companies all across the United States, we've been on a journey, and we continue to be on a journey. And what we're trying to do is to ensure that every customer, every associate feels well.
All right, I got to interrupt. I tried to let him talk for a little bit, but I got to interrupt. Bro, just answer the question. This is what I'm talking about as far as direct communication. But people have to appeal to so many different types of people, so they end up getting up here not answering the question in a direct way. And I think we've gotten to the point where it's become so out of hand that people respect it more. Even if you say something that I disagree with, the fact that you just answer it directly says a lot about you. It allows me to respect, even though I may not agree with your opinion and your perspective, but it allows me to respect it. I don't feel like I'm being lied to or manipulated. I'm just being totally honest. I've never heard from John Furner before, but just in the first 30 seconds of him answering this question, it sounds political. It sounds political. Why not just jump on there, answer the question, address the question directly? Yeah, well, we've tried to implement the DEI programs over the last 3-4 years. Here's some of the pros that we found. Here's some of the cons. And ultimately, this is why we made the decision to roll back some of those initiatives. Why can't people just say these things? Instead, it's always, our objective is to make sure that everybody can come in and shop. What are the pros? What are the cons? Because let's say that people are just now, what and a lot of companies are being accused of is because Donald Trump won, because there's a lot of Republican pressure to now roll back these DEI programs. A lot of the companies are caving to that. I don't respect that. If you believe that DEI is a good thing, if you really believe it, your job as CEO, that means you're looking at a lot of the numbers, right? You're looking at, hey, from my standpoint, let's get a bunch of people in the room. Let's get a bunch of people that we value their opinions on all different levels of the company. And let's talk about the pros and cons of DEI. Now, if the cons outweigh the pros, let's get rid of it or let's restructure it. If the pros outweigh the cons, let's keep it, but maybe let's change it up a little bit. They just sway based on what's hot at the time. It's like a fad type of thing. When you're not direct, it makes it seem like, to me, you're just saying what you think that I want to hear in order to justify the decisions that you made within your company. Let's keep going.
Welcome here to shop and to feel like they belong. And that term belong, we've been talking about belonging now for almost 2 years. Early 2023, we started talking about belonging. And we're going to continue to make the best decisions we can that makes everyone, our customers, our associates, feel like this is an environment they can shop in and thrive in. Okay,
so real quick, we're at 1 minute and 40 seconds. Somebody remind me. I want to go back to the actual question. Can we go back to the actual question?
$1 billion. So I'm happy to say we're joined now for an exclusive interview with John. I want to get into holiday shopping. I want to get into grocery prices, but I got to ask you off the top to talk about this report I'm reading in today's Wall Street Journal about how Walmart is pulling back on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs under pressure from a conservative activist. So a few of the changes here: phasing out the term DEI, winding down the Center for Racial Equity, no longer giving priority treatment to suppliers based on race or gender diversity, and preventing sellers from listing some transgender-related or themed items on the website. So is that accurate from what you're hearing, and why the changes?
So I just wanted to show y'all the question. Now, he finished the question at 1 minute, and we just heard 40 seconds of this guy, John Furner, talking about stuff, in my opinion, that did not answer the question. This is, what this reminds me of? Because a lot of people, I think this is what makes J.D. Vance so attractive. J.D. Vance is able to be in a lot of these positions and answer the questions almost in a politically correct way. And what I mean by almost is like, it's very smooth. Like, it comes across as very digestible, the things that he's saying, but he's also extremely direct. Where you have a guy like Trump may communicate something very directly, but it may not be as digestible as how J.D. Vance and Ant, of course, Ant gonna say the pause and all that stuff. Yeah, I know. I got to be careful when Ant's listening. But J.D. Vance, the things that he says, to me, in my opinion, they are direct, but they're very easily to digest. They're easy to process. You understand his perspective. It comes across very relatable. I think that's what a lot of these people are striving for, but they miss answering the questions directly. I still don't have an answer from him. We'll keep going for a little bit, and then we'll get to some of the questions that I have. And if you do me a favor, like, it's going to help boost the algorithm. So if you haven't already, just like the show, and appreciate y'all in advance.
Shop in and thrive in.
Is diversity among your suppliers still important to you at Walmart, John?
Well, starting with our company back in 1962, we were a small business, a single store that operated out of Rogers, Arkansas. And so we'll continue to do the things that we can do to ensure that.
Yo, this sounds like the whole Kamala Harris. I grew up with a single mother. I grew up in a middle class family.
Small suppliers have a path to being successful, not only at Walmart, but in their business in total. You know, every year we really focus on made in the USA. About 2/3 of what we sell is either made, grown.
What we're witnessing is what happens when you have Black Lives Matter and the LGBTQ communities and their agendas that have been bullying these companies for years. That's what we're seeing right now, displayed in front of us. People that now he doesn't even want to say diversity, equity, inclusion. He doesn't want to say any of these words that are directly associated with DEI. He doesn't even want to address it. Gail, she just asked him a question, but the other gentleman, and I think Nate's going to come in as well, they're asking certain questions that are very direct, and he's not answering any of them, in my opinion. He's skating right past it. They're not holding him to it, and he's getting away with it.
Are assembled right here in the United States.
But like I said, everything's a response. Like everything works in cycles. After George Floyd, we saw what happened. A lot of these companies, it's like out of nowhere, oh, we need DEI programs. We need to put a sticker in our window saying that we support Black Lives Matter. Matter of fact, no, not that Black Lives Matter, the ones with the rainbow. Put the Black Lives Matter sticker with the rainbow because we support LGBT. It turned into something where they were getting bullied. And a lot of people felt it for a very long time. And what we're seeing now with Trump being elected president is a response to all that. So all those people that we celebrated, all those people that or I'm not going to say we, all those people that a lot of these Black Lives Matter groups, Black activist groups, LGBTQ groups were celebrating, a lot of those companies, they weren't doing that because they thought that that was the best thing. They weren't, the majority of them, in my opinion. They didn't have good intentions when it came to that. They were just sitting there saying like, all right, man, this seems like it's going to be a movement. Let's just figure out, how we can use this to our advantage from a marketing standpoint, say that we're working with these groups, say that we're giving these groups opportunities, but not really care about it. Because if you really cared about it, instead of him saying everything that he's saying right now, he would be sitting here saying, look, these are the issues why we implemented DEI in the beginning. We still have a lot of these issues, but we are choosing to go a different direction because those foundational issues that we were looking to address, we do not feel that our current strategy in implementing DEI and implementing some of these other programs is working effectively. That's what you could have said, and people would have respected it. And I'm somebody who I don't like DEI. I've been talking about it for years with y'all, and we've been talking about it for years on this show. I'm not a supporter of it. I do not think that it benefits people. Let me be very clear. I do not think it benefits the people that are given the opportunities based on anything outside of merit. So let's get into, so here's some of the questions that I had. Hold on. Let me, I see a couple comments. Come on, bro. Keep it respectful, Greg, man. All right. Let's talk about the people. Hold on. Oh, we got a bunch of these. Jeez. All right, so y'all got y'all. All right, so y'all got y'all back and forth. Back and forths are good. That back and forths are good, but let's just all keep it respectful in the chat. Few things. JD Vance may be direct. I am, however, not attracted to him. Craig C. yelling at us over that chat. You're not, man. All right. Answer that he's not a JD Vance guy. To me, JD Vance is one of the most impressive politicians that I've seen. Like out of all these politicians that we've seen, like supporting Donald Trump, supporting Kamala Harris, supporting Joe Biden, all of the candidates, to me, he's the most impressive communicator. Zappa wrote, the American people have spoken and Democrats aren't listening. I agree. Reminds me of Lucille. I hope she is well. It's funny. I just thought about Lucille. Didn't earn it. That's the same way I look at it. And what people don't realize. So let's get into this conversation because my buddy sent me this and I didn't even read it. Because I was like, you know what? We're going to wait to get on the show. And I'm going to share it with y'all. My buddy sent me this. Hold on. Let me share the screen. All right. Can y'all see it? All right, cool. Let me get that off real quick. All right. So My buddy sent me this post by Walter. Hold on. Walter M. Kimbrough. Not familiar with who he is, but he wrote, DEI is bad. Everything should be merit. Then the same folks say nepotism and good old boy networks are great. Pick whoever you like. So I guess this is what somebody's responding to. It says, in a 24-hour span, Trump announces jobs for father-in-laws of both of his daughters. So we don't have to read anything. It seems like this first one is about Charles Kushner to serve as the U.S. ambassador to France. And what was the other one? Mossad Bolos will serve as senior advisor to the president in Arab and Middle Eastern affairs. He's an accomplished lawyer and highly respected leader in the business world with extensive experience on the international scene. Now, Trump is saying all this, so y'all know Trump operates in hyperbole. But it is what it is. He has been a longtime proponent of Republicans. So who is this person? Mossad is a deal maker. He would be a strong advocate. So I guess they're saying that this is both father. So I guess two of his father-in-laws. So the father-in-laws of both of his daughters. That's what it says. So this is my opinion on. Let me remove this real quick. These are my thoughts on nepotism versus DEI. What's the difference? What I see happening right now is DEI was based on two things that we discussed. The majority of people that it was based on were with the Black Lives Matter group and then with LGBTQ. Now, even though they say that I've always heard this, I don't really know the stats on it, but they always say that white women benefit from DEI actually the most. I'm not sure if that's accurate. I'm not sure. I can understand when people are saying that. They're probably saying it like, well, maybe it's not intended for you in particular, but you're still benefiting from it. So maybe they say that. I always, in my opinion, I looked at, how many boxes you're checking off. So are you checking off the women box? Okay, check. Are you checking off the black box? Okay, check. Are you checking off the LGBTQ box? You know what I mean? So it kind of, for me, I always looked at it with how many boxes can you check off when they go to meet their quotas. So, excuse me, got the sniffles. So for me, when I'm observing DEI versus nepotism, the DEI aspect, I always look at it from that standpoint. Black, women, and then LGBTQ, because that's what's been pushed, in my opinion, or that's what's been marketed as far as what's really DEI is helping with. A DEI professor or expert can obviously let me know otherwise if that's the case. Nepotism is a bit different, how I see it. It's giving somebody an opportunity based on the position that you're in of power, right? Okay. So nepotism, let's look at it from an example like LeBron James using his leverage to bring on Bronny, or Jerry Jones hiring his son to run the Dallas Cowboys. That's nepotism. DEI, we've talked about. DEI could be when you have a certain quota and you want to bring on a certain amount of people. We see it happening with Harvard, where you look at the test scores of the kids that get into Harvard. Why do the black kids score? Why are they able to get into Harvard with a lower score than a lot of the Asians? So we see it across the board in different ways. To me, they both produce bad results. So I'm not one of these people that, when we go back to this gentleman's tweet, when he says that DEI is bad, he's saying that some people say, the same people that say DEI is bad, everything should be merit, the same folks say nepotism and good old boy networks are good, pick whoever you like. This is the difference for me. I think that they both negatively impact people. Whenever you give somebody something that they do not deserve, think about it like your dog. Do you reward your dog for pissing in the house or for taking a bowel movement in the house? No, that would be silly, because now they're going to associate that with what they're supposed to be doing. Right now, I know that's not the perfect example, but overall, that's my stance. We should not be rewarding things to people other than merit. This is where it gets separated. Those same people, the black people, the LGBTQ, and the women, they don't see themselves, or we don't see them. Let's just talk about black people in particular. Because we're not in those roles where we're able to exercise nepotism as much as other people, at least that's our perception. We see that as like those problems over there. Like Jerry Jones bringing on his son, to me, and giving his son a job, if Jerry Jones' son is not qualified for that, then that's going to hurt his son. But that's on Jerry Jones, right? That's on his son. So the same way that I've called it out with LeBron and Bronny, I think that it hurts Bronny James. Is his son in the NBA? Will people do anything to get into the NBA? Absolutely. But I think that you hurt the development of Bronny. So that's a nepotism standpoint. So I have the same energy when it comes to DEI. You're hurting those people. But the DEI, I think we associate it differently with people because the DEI, it's almost, what did I write in my notes? It's almost like if what the gentleman's implying when he says that, okay, the same people that say DEI is bad are okay with nepotism, it reminds me of him, and I may not say this correctly, but it reminds me of when they say more money, more problems. Like the more money you make, the more problems, everything's a headache. Yeah, that sounds good, but like those are those good problems. Like nepotism, a lot of ways, I see those as like the good problems. You know what I mean? And I don't believe that I'm explaining it well enough, but hopefully y'all can kind of see where I'm going, and maybe you guys can even help me unpack it. But I look at the nepotism, both, like I said, both are going to create problems, but I almost look at it as if, well, if DEI is bad, then I don't want to make money. You know, money's bad, or money brings a lot of problems, so therefore let's not get rich. And matter of fact, throw that example out because I'm not really explaining it the right way. Let's just back it up a little bit. When you reward people for things that they do not deserve, it hurts the person that you're giving the position to. So I look at nepotism like that, and I look at DEI like that. When it comes to DEI, whenever you rob me of having to live up to a certain standard and to deliver on certain merits in order to get a position, you're robbing me of the things that I would develop by getting to that standard. It's no different than working out with Ozempic. If you can just give me an Ozempic quick fix and I lose 30 pounds and that was my goal, my doctor said, hey, I just got to lose 30 pounds. No, the actual benefit are the things that your body is going to respond to, your things that your body is going to benefit from going through the process of naturally losing 30 pounds, of going and working out every day, of changing your diet. Those are the things. Because it's not just about the merit to sit here and say, I walked every day. I ran every day. I worked out every day. I changed my diet. Forget the trophy that you get from that. The biggest benefit is what it did for your body. So that's how I look at DEI and nepotism. Let people compete. If you have to lower the standard for a particular group of people, then to me, what you're saying is that not that that group doesn't have opportunities. You're saying that that group is not capable of performing at a particular standard that the other group is performing at. So that's how I look at it. That may not be what Walmart is looking at it. I don't think it's how they're looking at it, but that's my standpoint on it. So I think y'all kind of get my feelings on that. Sorry to go so long on that. But let me a couple comments. So Ant wrote, JD Vance, no, I'm just not attracted. He's cool. I don't support DEI fully. If they can find a way to direct attention to merit-based DEI hires, I might change my opinion. Don't mind nepotism, though. And this is the thing. You know why I'm a little bit less mindful of nepotism? And let me be very clear. I still don't think that it benefits the person. I just don't care as much about it because nepotism comes from a standpoint, and in most cases, it's not like LeBron James. In most cases, it's more like the Jerry Jones, where you own a company and you want to bring on whoever you want to bring on, or Donald Trump situation where he wants to bring on, he won the election, he could bring on whoever he wants to bring on. That's cool. But that's talking about grown men. That's talking about a different situation, in my opinion. And I still think that it hurts the person. Neither here nor there. But I get what you're saying, Ant. I definitely feel, though I have those same feelings and thoughts as well. But DEI for me is just a no-no. I just look at how it impacts us. I don't think that the numbers show that it's actually benefiting us. Levi, am I saying it correctly? Hey, peeps. What's up, Levi? checking boxes instead of checking qualifications. That's how I look at it. Nepotist hires should come with mandatory predecessor shadowing internship for a few years. Yeah, I think it should. You just can't regulate it. You know what I mean? It's different than regulating a company to say you have to hire this amount of black people, this amount of women, this amount of LGBTQ. To me, if I own a company, I'm not doing that. You're not telling me who I have to hire. It just is what it is. I'm the one that sacrificed everything, risked everything. If that's the case, if people want to complain so much, then use it as an opportunity. Every complaint, if you feel that a company's not hiring your people, whoever your people is, then to me, that sounds like an opportunity to you do exactly what that company does. If there's Walmart and they're not hiring and catering and creating opportunities for a certain demographic, then let's start another grocery store. Let's start another super center. And let's tell the story of why we're starting it. Because we feel that this other company wasn't providing certain opportunities. But you got to put the risk out there. You got to put the money out there, raise the money, and open your own business. That's the only way any of this works. Competition, right? You have the ability to create your own Walmart. You have the ability to open up your own corner store. You have the ability to open up your version of Starbucks if you don't like Starbucks. You have the ability to do all of these things. So open up a business and then you hire whoever it is that you want to hire. That's my opinion on it. But I don't know. Neither here nor there. Neither here nor there. Let's move on. We're going to talk a little bit about, are we going to go into, my fault. I shouldn't have took that down so fast, Levi. All right. So we're going to get into Stephen A. This funny video that I saw with Stephen A. and this actress that y'all got to see. And it's an actress that y'all probably recognize. If y'all watch a lot of low budget black movies, then y'all will be familiar. Hold on. Let me make sure that I have it up here. All right, here it is. All right, hold on. This is what y'all are about to see. Y'all are about to be entertained. Just know that y'all are about to be entertained. All right, let's get it on the screen. So Jennifer Lewis. This is the auntie, the mean mom that plays, y'all know who she is. Listen to this exchange. So they're talking about the election, a bunch of things. They're talking about a bunch of things. And I just want us to hear this exchange, get y'all opinions, get y'all thoughts on it, because this is like when we say that these Democrats are losing their minds, like in my opinion, that's what's happening. Democrats, and I'm mainly, let me say liberals. Liberals, y'all are losing y'all mind. I know Donald Trump said the happy Thanksgiving to even the radical left lunatics. I'm talking about the lunatics here. There's a lot of people losing their mind. I'm not talking about the moderate Democrats. I'm not. But just play the damn video. I hear what y'all are saying. I hear y'all.
And still I rise. It's something I told the kids, and still I rise. We know how to fight. It's not new to us. And when I say us, I'm talking about the world. Because here's a song I wrote. We gonna be all right if we stand as the people. We gonna be all right if we trust.
Yeah, look at Stephen.
With the people.
Yeah.
Right.
They wrong for making this full
if
screen.
If we rise as one people.
Yo, the Negro spirituals, whatever you want to call them, the kumbayas. Why are people acting like the world is coming to an end? Why are people are seriously acting like, yo, Donald Trump won. He lied about Project 2025. He's going to make us a slave. The same way Taraji P. Henson at the BET Awards and Kamala Harris said that if we don't, they're taking away our freedom. They really believe, these people really believe that black people are about to be in chains and shackles. Like they really believe that black people are about to be in chains and shackles. That's what a lot of these folks, it's like, yo, like check your 401k, check your stocks. Like it's all good. Like it actually, like he was already president. I know MSNBC and CNN tells us he's Hitler, tells us he's a fascist, all these different things. But when you actually look at what's going on, when you actually look at who he's putting in these positions, whether it's the FBI director that's been criticizing the FBI for a very long time. And this is what's so confusing to me. Project 2025, in a lot of ways, if it was not written, and this has nothing to do with Project 2025, but this is more so with the let me look at the Republican standpoint in general. Let me look at Trump's standpoint. The people that Trump have brought on criticize the FBI, criticize the Food and Drug Administration, criticize Big Pharma, criticize wasted spending, all of the things that the people talk about and criticize, whether they're criticizing the education system, the Board of Education, aren't these the very same things that are being brought up in the Chicago meetings with the mayor, with the town hall? Like when the town is able to speak and say the things that they're frustrated with, the migrant crisis, all of these things that people complain about. But because Trump is the person at the head of it, we're looking at it in a way where it's like, I don't know. In my opinion, we're hustling backwards. We're criticizing the person that has the same complaints as us, but then aligning with the people that want to keep things the same. It's almost like the Democrats are the new conservatives. Think about it from that standpoint. Trump is the person that is bringing change to all of this. That's why Republicans are nervous. That's why Democrats are nervous. When you bring in an FBI director, what's the guy, Jay? I forget. When you bring on these type of people like a RFK Jr., that's not conservative. It's conservative values, maybe from a standpoint of less government, of caring about the things that we're consuming food-wise. It may be conservative in that regards, but because the Democrats who have been in office for 12 out of the last 16 years, as far as presidency, because the things that they put in play have now become the norm, and because the things that they did not address, Democrats and Republicans in the past have not addressed the Food and Drug Administration, have not addressed the Board of Education, have not addressed a lot of the border, have not addressed a lot of these things. Now Donald Trump could be seen as the new progressive. He's the one that's progressing things to a sensible standpoint. So let's keep going with Jennifer Lewis.
And I believe that Kamala Harris would have done that. This thing is divisive, cruel, and evil, insane, narcissistic, and he's a sociopath. But honey, we are the people. And we're not going to allow this dictatorship. I told everybody you can be scared, but we must be unafraid. Now, how do you?
She's reading that. Look at her reading it. She got her notes. I can't be bad.
You go to your zoning meeting.
She's reading.
So, and you'll know who's raising your rent. Educate yourself, because you're losing your rights. And I'm talking to the Gen Zs and the.
See, Stephen A is about to fall victim to something that. Stephen A is on a campaign. He wants to get into politics. He wants to run for office, perhaps even president. That's Stephen A's goal. So, and Stephen A, who has been seen as, Stephen A's in a bit of a weird position. He's seen as corny. He's seen as not being for the people, like the black culture that he really wants to accept him so badly. And then because he's not accepted, he does stuff like this. He'll go on Bill Maher. He'll go on different shows. He'll go on The View. And I don't care what anybody says. Stephen A is conservative. The only reason why he's saying that he voted for Kamala, the only reason why he says that he dislikes Trump is because he just wants to appeal to black people. That's it. That's the path that he's chosen. He says, okay, if I run, I'm going to run as a Democrat. So therefore, I need to make sure that I appeal to these demographics. And that's how he's looking at it, rather than just being himself, rather than just standing on the things that you believe. And that's what Trump did. Like him, hate him, love him, dislike him. It doesn't matter. We knew where he stood, and he was him all the time. Somebody brought up this point with Trump that I never thought about. And they were saying that, you know, Trump, he wears his suit and the red tie everywhere, whether he's at McDonald's, whether he's on the truck. Now he may take off his jacket, whether he's meeting with the farmers, whether he's meeting with, it doesn't matter. where you see a lot of other politicians, they adjust their clothing. Like when Kamala went down to the border, I think she was just wearing like her Timbs and stuff like that. I think I've seen Kamala. Wasn't there a big thing with her wearing Chucks before or something like that? Trump is going to come how Trump comes. He's not worried about appealing to anybody. I'm the president of the United States. I'm a businessman, and this is my attire. This is my uniform. I do not change my uniform based on trying to relate and appeal to whatever group it is that I'm speaking to. I don't know. For me, it just made me think about it. I was like, oh, dang, I never really noticed that. That is an interesting thing. Do we dress down for the people that we're going to see, or do we dress how we dress as far as our uniform and the position that we play?
Millennials now, you ain't gonna have no pension if you don't fight.
You're not gonna have a
You ain't gonna have Social Security or health. Where
Stephen A is sitting back and allowing her to say all this stuff. He does not agree with anything that she's saying.
healthcare if you don't fight. So learn how to fight. Listen to smart people. Listen to Steve. Listen to Stacey Abrams. Listen to Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett and Maxine Waters. Listen to them. Listen to who knows what.
Listen to Thomas Sowell. Listen to Larry Elder. You could listen to all those people that she just named, but also listen to the ones that I just named as well. Listen to some of those folk. Just start off with Thomas Sowell and Larry Elder.
Roads to take now, because this Republican Party ain't playing.
Let me ask you this. What about what they've said in terms of Black, particularly Black men and Latinos, supported him more than they have in the past? Why do you think that is? And what do you have to say to Black men and Latinos who were not in favor of supporting Kamala Harris?
Oh, honey. Oh, honey. When your favorite niece and your 13-year-old daughter is raped by your alcoholic brother or the next door neighbor, and she tries to abort that baby inside of her from a rape, you're going to regret that.
Stephen A asked a question about why a lot of Black and Hispanic people, men, are, I believe he specified men, voted for Trump. And her response is, when your daughter and your niece, your favorite niece, is raped by the uncle or raped by, I forget who she said, somebody in the family, I believe, and they can't have an abortion, or they want to have an abortion. Do y'all, does this come across, is it me, or does this just sound crazy? Like, is that really the abortion argument? Like, first off, Stephen A didn't even ask about abortions, but that's the first thing that is brought up by her. And where she goes with it is less than 1% of the abortions that are occurring. That's what you lead with. And this is why it reminds me of so I met with my big bro Bruce this weekend, and he did a think tank, I believe, in Nantucket, the Nantucket Project or something like that. And he was doing this think tank, and he was saying how the issue was Israel-Palestine. And his takeaway, I was like, what was your takeaway? Did you think that they could, find some type of resolution, or, what? Like, what was the overall feeling? And he said that because the groups of people that he was meeting with would not budge on their stances, he doesn't think that they would ever find some type of resolution. In my opinion, this is why, when it comes to the abortions, that there may be some Republicans that, now, I'm not going to say that need to budge on it. I'm not saying that at all. You go with what you feel like. A lot of it may be your religion. A lot of it may be other things. But I think that if there was some type of, but this is the problem, it's a slippery slope, because even as I'm thinking about it, so this is what I was going to say. I was going to say that if the conservatives were more so open to saying like, okay, hey, this is a 1% of the population type of thing. If something like this occurs, would a woman be able to go through this process? That still may violate your beliefs. That still may violate your religions, yours, but this is for somebody else. Cool. In my opinion, if there were certain exceptions made in that area, what would people like Jennifer Lewis be saying? They couldn't say anything. Now, I don't think that you should do something just so you could shut somebody up, because this is what's going to end up also happening that people may not be considering. If you only open up, and in my opinion, if you only allow abortions that occur because of rape, then my fear as a man, just being honest with y'all, and I mean, I think I would have this same fear overall, but it's super relevant, is that when a woman does not want to have a baby and that she wants to have an abortion by any means, to me, there's going to be, my bet would be that the amount of people that are reporting rapes would go up. Now, whether that's legit, I don't know, but to me, that would be a fear of a slippery slope, if I'm just being honest with y'all. But let's keep going.
They want to keep women in their place. It's so disgusting. I can't even put words to them voting for her. They didn't vote for her, didn't vote because she was a woman. They didn't care that she was smart and powerful, educated, beautiful, kind, joyful, fearless. She would have taken care of this country. She would have protected the people. She would have surrounded herself with great minds. But keeping women in their place was more important to them.
Keeping women in their place. Keeping women in their place. So for all the black men and Latino men, you voted for Trump because you wanted to keep women in your place. We voted for Trump because we wanted to keep women in our place.
And black men, that was just shocking, because, honey, he's going to give the military and the police permission to shoot you in your back, and there will be no immunity. So, baby, y'all done fucked up. You took every right from your children. Once again, there will be no social.
We took every right from our children. Stephen A., why didn't you ask her which rights did we take from the children? Which rights did we take from the children? And this is, let's keep going. Let's keep going, because I got a point that I want to make, but I want to make it. I think she talks about it.
Security and pensions and rights. This thing has said you will never have to vote again. He's going to be in charge of the military. We have fucked up. End of story.
You don't think it was a simple situation of looking at the economy, looking at inflation, looking at crime and saying, excuse me, providing and protect. And as men, that's what we want. And as a result of that, I mean, I voted for her. I wasn't voting for him. But speaking to men who felt differently, they didn't think about Roe v. Wade. They didn't think about stuff. They thought about the economy, money in their pockets, and safety in the streets.
Oh, listen.
It couldn't have been as simple as that?
First of all, do you see women breaking in people's houses? Do you see women shooting each other in the streets? No. They voted because they voted for Trump because, I hate saying his name. They voted for him because they hate themselves.
Yep. I'm going to be honest, yo. I'm going to be honest. I'm tired of black women not calling black women like her out. I'm tired of white women not calling black women like her out. I'm tired of women not calling women like her out. I'm tired of Stephen A. and men not calling women like her out. They voted for Trump because they hate themselves. That's what she's jumping on here, standing on. And this is the reason. Well, let me ask y'all a question. Black people may be the only group, or to this extent that we do it, that vote in a monolith. We just vote Democrat, to the point where we do it so much where if it changes a percentage or two here and there, people will look at it like, the nerve of y'all not voting Democrat like everybody else does, even though 80% still did, or whatever the percentage was. So you have the only group of people that is voting as a monolith for the Democrats. This is also the group of people that has the largest percentage of single parent households. This is also the group of people that has the largest percentage of single parent households that are ran by women. So let me ask y'all ladies this question. If men who are raised by women do not believe that a woman, based on everything that she's saying, do not believe that a woman, if they're voting against a woman because they don't believe that a woman should be in a leadership position, wouldn't that make you do some, like an internal dive, kind of look inward a bit? You got all these young men growing up with mothers running the households, right? Mothers being the leaders. But now you're accusing black men who decide not to vote for the Democrats, who decide not to vote for Kamala Harris, somebody who y'all believe is apparently black, conveniently black at best. Now y'all saying that these black men hate themselves, and you're criticizing the black men and saying that they don't believe this was just to keep the women down. Maybe they just don't believe in the women leadership because of a lot of the way their households have been led. Am I not supposed to say that? Am I not allowed to say that? I'm just saying I'm not saying that this is true. I didn't grow up in that type of household. I'm not saying that it's true, but it's just something that I always think about. I always think about, if you're complaining about black men not wanting to vote for a woman in leadership, but we're the largest population that grows up with women in those leadership positions, then I don't know. Something in me would say, let me actually process this a little bit. Let me think about it a little bit. Do y'all have those same thoughts? I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering if y'all have those same thoughts. Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
And they see this thing as powerful, that he's going to move mountains for them and make them rich. And unfortunately, black men, they want a man. They were saying, I'm voting for the man. Well, we're going to see about that. And don't think we're all not at fault. All of us. Yeah. We went to our jobs and came home and sat on the sofa and watched movies of destruction. Superman, Batman, the end of this, Armageddon. Well, all of that social consciousness has brought us here. So now, like I said, Lex Luthor is finally in the fucking White House. What are you going to do about it?
So let me transition back to you from this perspective.
Let me hear what he asked.
Because despite,
because we're done with this,
whatever it is that you feel, and you've articulated it quite eloquently, I might add, in the end, you're saying there's always a silver lining in life, and you got to take care of yourself. And I bring that up because you were
Stephen A. corny for this. He's been corny. But Stephen A. is corny for this, man. Like, he's trying to. Yo, some black men are so scared to call out black women. It is insane. Like, some black men are so scared to call out black women. It's insane. Like, if I was Stephen, I'd be like, yo, like, nah. Like, I would have said in a respectful way, because you're on my show, you know, I'm not trying to embarrass you, but nah, you're bugging. I got to push back on this. I'm a black man, and even though I voted for Kamala, I don't think that all the black men that I know that voted for Trump are voting it for the reasons that you're saying. But Stephen A. is too scared to even say that stuff. Stephen A. It's like, yeah, when you care about what people think about you, when you really care so much about, when you prioritize how people care about you, over how you being honest with yourself and you having integrity. To me, that's where we get the Stephen A's. That's where we get these conversations where clearly Stephen A is just allowing her to just like say all this BS. He doesn't believe that. He doesn't believe that. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going. I got a cool Elon video for y'all that I wanted y'all to see. Let's take a look at this. Already got it on deck. Let's see. Let me do. All right, boom. Let's take a look at this. Young Elon. Shout out to Elon. Shout out to Elon. If you own Tesla stock, then you know it's up. Shout out to Elon.
Take us back to when you really started all of this.
Well, that was the summer of '95. I had no money whatsoever. I was working, doing research in Silicon Valley on a completely different subject and trying to start this company at the same time. And when it came time to decide, do I want to do graduate studies or do I want to start this company? And I decided to start the company. I had no money. As a graduate student, I would have received a scholarship and a stipend and so forth. In starting the company, I had nothing. I had no income source. So
you got to be willing to bet on yourself. And this conversation, I'm not going to allow it to go to us saying, well, Elon has this privilege to where he could do something like this because he's white and because he's this and because he's that, or he comes from this background, so therefore he could take that risk. You may be absolutely right, but that's not where we're going with this conversation. That's not my takeaway from it. If you choose to have that takeaway, matter of fact, that's for you. My takeaway is I'm sitting here. How many people would have made that type of decision to where you have the opportunity to go to grad school, get a stipend, get a scholarship, have things paid for, but instead you decide to go off on your own and bet on yourself and start a business with no money?
we found that an office was actually cheaper than an apartment in Silicon Valley. So we got this dinky little office that had a leaky roof. It was just the nastiest place you can imagine.
And you lived in it too?
And I lived in it too and showered at the YMCA. This lasted for about 3 or 4 months.
Who's willing to do it? This is why I bet on Elon. This is why maybe 6-7 months ago, we decided, and to say, you know what, I had stocks, I had a diverse portfolio. But I sat here and said, and I always was the type of person that, like, this was my stock strategy. I remember the first stock that I put a good amount of money in was Carvana. And I looked up who the owner and CEO was, and I'm like, yo, this dude seems like the guy that's going to just keep working. Yeah, it may suffer some problems, but this leader does not seem like the type of leader that's going to give up. They're going to keep going until they win. So that was always on me. I wanted to know who owned the company. What was it? Because in my opinion, the owner attitude reflects leadership, right? What movie is that from? Attitude reflects leadership, right? Captain. So for me, it was important to know who the owner of the company was because I wanted to understand the culture of the company. And 6-7 months ago, as I'm sitting here, I'm like, yo, who would I bet on? Like, if I was just looking at it from a person standpoint, who would I bet on? And I said, yo, why do I have these? I'm just putting all this in Tesla. Let's put everything in Tesla and see what happens. Let's roll the dice. I'm willing to roll the dice on Elon. I look at it like that. Like, who would I respect as a competitor that I know is not going to give up if we're going at each other? If somebody I know they're willing to give up, and then nah. Elon is a dog. He's a dog. And that's who we bet on. That's who I'm attracted to in sports. That's who I'm attracted to in life. And that's who I'm attracted to when it comes to business. And when I say dog, for those that know, y'all know when you see a guy on the field, when you see a guy in that boxing ring, there's a difference. There's a difference. I'm willing to go through things that you're not willing to go through. I'm willing to sacrifice more than you're willing to sacrifice in order to accomplish something greater. I'm willing to lose and keep getting up and keep competing no matter what anybody else says, because I'm ultimately going to win. I'm going to get the big win at the end of the day, no matter how many losses I face along the journey. That's Elon energy to me. Maybe it's a little bit different for y'all. Maybe you'll sit here and say, well, Elon had this, Elon. Yeah, take away from it whatever you need to take away from it.
And the reason we chose this office, in addition to it being really cheap, was that there was an internet service provider on the floor below. So we were able to get really cheap internet access by drilling a hole in the floor and connecting to their server directly.
You know, this industry is so young, and we don't really know where it's going. But what do you see as the future of the internet?
I think the internet is the superset of all media. It is the be-all and end-all of media. One will see print, broadcast, arguably, radio, essentially all media folding into the internet. And what the internet amounts to is it's the first of two-way communication medium that is intelligent. It allows consumers to choose what they want to see, when they want to see it, and whether that be radio, whether that be print, whether that be television, broadcast. I think it's going to revolutionize all traditional media.
There's something to say about somebody that sets out on a mission, and then you see him 30 years later, just like, who said that? Levi, 30 years later, the hair is gray hair 30 years later. To me, there's something to be said about somebody that sets out to do something, and 30 years later, you actually see the results, and that they are just as inspired 30 years later to continue to keep pushing that they were 30 years ago. It's hard to keep up that same energy. It's hard to continue betting on yourself, to continue not taking the safe bet, to continue not taking the safe route, the road that is most traveled, and continue to take the least traveled, and continue to bet on yourself, and continue. There's another video that this is who. Oh, let me actually see if I could find that Elon video. Have y'all ever seen the Elon video where he's getting interviewed, and the person is asking him about all the people, like all of his idols that have said bad things about him? Hold on. Elon Musk, Buzz Aldrin, criticism. Just to, I wasn't going to show this, but I want y'all to see this. I want y'all to see this. This is another reason why I bet on him. This is another reason why I bet on him. Hold on. All right, let me share the screen. Hold on.
You know, there are American heroes who don't like this idea. Neil Armstrong, Gene Cernan have both testified against commercial spaceflight and the way that you're developing it, and I wonder what you think of that.
I was very sad to see that, because those guys are, those guys are heroes of mine, so it's really tough. I wish they would come and visit and see the hardware that we're doing here. And I think that would change their mind.
They inspired you to do this, didn't they?
Yes.
And to see them casting stones in your direction.
It's difficult.
Did you expect them to cheer you on?
Certainly hoping they would.
What are you trying to prove to them?
What I'm trying to do is to make a significant difference in spaceflight and help make spaceflight accessible to almost anyone. And I would hope for as much support in that direction as we can receive.
That's why I like my guy, man. That's why I like my guy. Did you see my man tearing up? Like, that's the passion, that's the purpose. You could really tell bro really cares. Like you may disagree with him going into space, may disagree with him on Mars, may disagree with him and Vivek being, a part of Doge. You may disagree with him on a lot, but there's something to be said about somebody that is so passionate about the project that they're working on to where they're crying because their heroes that motivated and inspired them to want to go after the things that he's going after are criticizing him. Like that's when I see stuff like that, like, and then I look at it from a standpoint, either that's going to break you. Like how is somebody going to respond to that? I promise you, I got goosebumps. Can you see the goosebumps? That gives me goosebumps. That gives me goosebumps because the same people that inspired you now are criticizing you. Now, what do? He said, I wish they would come out here and visit. Didn't bash them, didn't anything. But what is that going to do? Is that going to have you go after it even more? Are you going to let up a little bit and take your foot off the gas? Or are you going to push back down? We already know what Elon his decision is. That's why I like this man. That's why I appreciate him. Forget I appreciate him. Levi wrote, I think Elon is legit. I have friends who disagree. And yeah, that's the thing. It's a very similar. I'm very similar that way. Very similar that way. Let me get to this last video. We had two more. We're actually going to play a video of. All right. Do y'all want to go Vivica Fox, talking about Vivica Fox and how she's not settling at 60 when she's dating? Or do you want to talk about Method Man? Right in the chat. Method Man predicting a lot of the things that we're going through in life right now. I'm going to wait for somebody to respond. And we can only go with one. I got to get y'all out of here. So y'all let me know what y'all thinking. And then I'll play whichever one y'all are rocking with. Hold on. I need somebody to answer. And make sure that you like the video while you're at it. Maybe even share with a friend. But Vivica, all right, y'all chose Vivica. I was hoping you'd say that. All right, let's get to Vivica. All right, so let me just get the time. 2 minutes and 39 seconds. See, I was hoping y'all say Vivica. I already had it queued up. 2 minutes and 39 seconds. So for those that are not familiar, Vivica A. Fox was a pretty big actress. I think she was a big actress. She's played in some big roles. Kill Bill, Independence Day, Set It Off. But she's played in a lot of different roles. What's my favorite one? One of my favorite Vivica movies is Two Can Play That Game with Morris Chestnut. But she's been in a lot of different movies, and she's been out there as far as some of the things that she's been saying about dating. I am not that much of a fan of her. I'll be totally honest. I never really messed with her. Like the stuff that she said after rest in peace, Unc Kev Samuels. She pretty much, when Kev Samuels passed away, she said it was karma. Like when Kev Samuels passed away, she said it was karma for him criticizing women and talking about women in a negative, whatever. But let's take a look at this, and I'd love to hear y'all thoughts.
Real quick, let's go. Okay, all right.
Now, I know that me time is great, and you said that, but like all of this juicy, we don't want this to go to waste. Is somebody getting a little? You dating somebody?
Me, myself, and I. So it's what, three of them?
All right. Let's get to it. First and foremost, we have to prioritize our health. We just have to. We have to prioritize our health. And where am I going with this? Vivica Fox has said plenty of times that she's has her standards. She's not settling. She's only dating a certain type of guy. Throw all those other standards out the window. In my opinion, if I showed y'all who Vivica, what she used to look like, and I don't know whether it's plastic surgery or maybe I shouldn't go this route because it's not about looks. I'm talking about it from a health standpoint, but it is amazing to me how so many people can have all of these standards in other areas, but not taking care of your health. To me, that's a very big thing. How your presentation, it's not about just the presentation. Like we talk about this all the time. The presentation is just the reward. It's just something that comes along with it. It's a value add from you just being the healthiest version of yourself. But let me not dive too much into that. Let's keep going.
But no, really, I've been happily single for about 5 years.
Yeah.
And it's been.
Why are you lying? Why are you lying? And look what Ant just wrote. Ant just wrote the same thing. I didn't even see it. I was looking at the other screen. Wait, when did Vivica start looking like this? I'm late. Respectfully, that's what I'm saying. Respectfully. And Ant wrote, why not? She talks about looks when it comes to her standards. That's a fact. But see, you want to know why I didn't want to get too much into the looks? Because I don't want to take away from the main point that I think we need to think about here. She's talking about she's been happily single for 5 years. Why are you lying? Any woman, I'll be totally honest. Any woman at her age or any age, let me back it up this way. Let me ask a question instead of making a statement. Let me ask a question. Oh, and Mama Lay in the building. She said she put on a lot of weight. I don't think there's surgery. I wasn't sure if anything was done with her face. But yeah, this is my question. Dang, I kind of lost my train of thought. But it was regarding the things that, what did Ant just write? What was I going to say? All right, I'm just going to start talking and hopefully it comes. Hopefully it comes to mind. But the thing about Vivica and the thing about claiming that you've been happily single for 5 years, and it did come to me. Think about, because I said I was going to switch it to a question. Think about, and there are some unique people. There are some unique people in this world. But think about the people that you know would say that they're happily single. Think about the women. I understand how a lot of men, let's look at it from a man's standpoint. Why would a man say that he's happily single? Why would a man say that he's happily single? Does he not like sexual relations with women? Does he not like sexual relationships with guys if he's gay, whatever it is? Does he not like the emotional connection with a significant other? Now, I can understand if you have a terrible relationship or a terrible situation that you're coming out of, that you're happier maybe by yourself than in that relationship. But that's because you're comparing it to something that was terrible. You get what I'm saying? I still don't think that you would look at yourself as happily single for 5 years. So just my question is, think about the people that you know that would fall into this category of being happily single for 5 years. Do you really think they're happy? Do you really think that a 60-year-old woman wants to be by herself, doesn't want to come home to somebody, doesn't want to make dinner for her man, doesn't want her man making dinner for her, doesn't want to go through life? Like, am I bugging? Because to me, one of the greatest purposes of life is to experience it with somebody else, to go through it. We always talk about, when it comes to business and everything else, the mastermind, right? When you bring 2 people, when you bring 3 people, when you bring all these people together, you're able to do more than you would by yourself. There's compounding interest across the board. Isn't that the same thing when you find the right partner? Isn't that the word that we're using nowadays? When you find the right partner, isn't that the same thing? Like, so when you say, when you're on here 60 years old, you're a celebrity with a huge influence, and you're jumping up here saying that you're happily single, what is that? What is the message that is sent to women across the board? Now, Vivica may be in a position where she could hire a man to go on dates with. She could hire this because she, has some type of celebrity and success. But do you really think that, honestly, I'll be totally honest. Men and women, I'm looking at a little funny. Like, now I'm getting to an age where I used to meet a lot of guys and they say, I'm happily single, man. I'm never getting married, all this. And I used to look at it like, I'm never getting married, never having kids, all these things. I don't want a relationship. I just want to worry about me. I start to look at guys a little like I'm not that I look at you funny, not that I am judging. Everybody judges. I'm processing. Like now I'm looking into your life a little bit differently than I was. Now I got the magnifying glass because I'm like, well, damn, what makes him say that? Like, is this the type of person that like I even want to be around? Like, I'll be totally honest. Because birds of a feather, right? And I'm always I always try to study success. So if I see somebody with a relationship or somebody that is successful, I look at it either way. I look at people that are successful and I'm always like studying, like, okay, how does this impact their relationship? Like if you're successful financially in business, on your job, corporate rise, how does that impact your relationship? And then I also look at relationships. If I know that the relationship, or if I think that the relationship is successful, I look at, well, how does that impact, their day-to-day with their finances and the work? Like, so we're always looking for that balance. I am, at least. I just think that it's extremely disingenuous to get up on any platform and in order to make you feel better about the position that you're in, you're telling the world that you're happily single. I just don't look at it that way. But I don't know. Hold on. Did I miss some comments? Hold on. Let me keep going with the video a little bit.
Okay. I mean, don't think I'm sad. I'm good. I'm good, but it's okay.
Let's be real. Y'all always telling men to be vulnerable and to be honest with our feelings and to open up. Let's be real. You are sad. Who wouldn't be sad? Yeah, Vivica, you used to be like one of those ones that every guy is looking at like, yo, she's bad. And now you can't find somebody to meet your standards. So let's look at that a different way, because you're not going to compromise your standards, right? You're not going to settle. That means that no guy, the guys that you determine that are of your class, of your grade that you're looking for, that means that none of them are willing to give the things that you believe that you deserve. Isn't that what that means? If I sit here as a guy and complain about my relationship, complain about this, complain about women, all these women are dumb, they won't do this, they won't do that. At a certain point, I got to look at it and be like, damn, if I feel like I'm worth this and the value that I bring to the table should be reciprocated in these ways that I call my standards, if no woman is willing to meet those things, then I got to look at myself and say, like, maybe I'm not who I think I am. Or maybe I'm not expressing that, or maybe I'm not delivering, whatever it is. I would have to look internally. But what she's portraying and what she's pushing on the people, in my opinion, is this mindset that we see a lot where it's like, I'm not settling. And first and foremost, I would assume that everybody settles in a relationship, right? Doesn't everybody settle? Are we out here thinking that we're about to get perfection? Is that a thing? Is that still a thing? I don't know, but I would assume that everybody settles in some ways or another. That's what compromise is. Isn't that the main thing with relationships? Like, isn't that one of the keys to relationships, to be able to compromise? So now people are going to say, well, that's different than settling. Is it? I don't know.
Dating me, and I'm looking for the right one. I'm not going to settle.
That's right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because I'm afraid of being alone. I think that's the problem that happens with a lot of us.
So many people, the fear.
Yeah, that, oh my God, I don't want to be by myself. I'm actually pretty good.
I got y'all on the meth.
But I
I'm
know
gonna show
one
the method,
time
man.
you made a joke that you was looking. Did your DMs get flooded?
They did. I made a joke, y'all. It honestly was a joke.
No, it wasn't.
And I've said the joke for years, but for some odd reason, me turning 60 and me saying I'm taking applications. Child, they were sending it to my agent, to my publicist, sliding up in the DMs. I mean, like.
So you didn't hire anybody?
Everything. But I appreciate that. But I was like, send a picture so I can make sure.
And you know, I'll be totally honest. A lot of this just makes me sad. And I don't know, like, how everybody's going to perceive me discussing these type of things, but it's really just from a sad standpoint. Like, I think that our culture tears us apart in a lot of ways. American culture does not promote marriage, does not promote partnership, whatever you want to call it, does not promote and highlight the value of locking in with an individual. To me, it's not promoted. And, you know, when I look at my life and I'm sitting here thinking like, damn, I'm 37. I ain't got no kids. I'm not married. Like, I really think about these things because I'll be totally honest. In my 20s, I wasn't thinking about any of this stuff. It just wasn't a part of the culture. It was like, yo, you got to figure out your business, figure out, you know, football, figure out whatever else in order to get some money. And then you worry about that later on. Like, you'll be good. Like, you'll be good. Now, to each their own as far as the approach that you take. But in my opinion, what I'm seeing more and more, and when I see it with especially women in my family and men as well, I shouldn't just say especially, but I'm thinking about a woman in my family. When you have to go through those later stages of your life, in any stage of your life, in my opinion, but I think that you feel it in a different way the more you become vulnerable health-wise and maybe mentally as well. You know, your physical health, but also your mental health. I think that you're putting yourself in a position that's very dangerous. See, being single for Vivica may be okay. She may be good. But, oh, shoot, my computer's about to die. Hold on. Hold up. What we doing, Flex? All right, caught it. It was just about to go. All right, so getting back to the point, I think that it could be very dangerous, you know, you being by yourself and living those later years by yourself. It's a very vulnerable thing. I also believe that it kills a lot of people. Loneliness, all of these different things. So for Vivica to be pushing this message to people, I think it's disingenuous. I think it's wrong. And I think that this is another one of those situations where just be honest. Just be honest. Yo, it does suck being single. It does suck, you know, feeling like I can't find anybody that meets the standards that I believe that I deserve. Be honest about that. Have the conversation around that, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that are feeling that way. And there's a lot of people that y'all are convincing, perhaps a lot of women in their 20s and 30s, that y'all are convincing that being single is okay and being this is okay. Maybe you had the opportunity to have a relationship. Maybe you had those opportunities, but now you're convincing women in their 20s and 30s that they should be single, that it's all good. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just looking at it from a cultural standpoint across the board. When you look at it from that standpoint, we know that, especially when it comes to women, the age is going to, you know, the older you get, you may not be able to have kids. You may not be, all these different things. It's just a reality. And us not looking into that reality or us ignoring that reality may put a lot of people in positions to where they're making decisions based on their current way of thinking, based on maybe people that they respect and value and hold in high regards, giving them their opinions. And there may be no turning back to a lot of these decisions that are being made. And then by the time you reach your 40s, and you're saying like, damn, I looked at this all wrong, it may be too late to pursue a lot of these things that you could have done maybe earlier on. I look at my own life with it. Shoot, I look at, if I would have had kids at 30, that's an extra 7 years that my kids could have experienced with my parents. They could have met my aunt. You know what I'm saying? They could have met a lot of the family members that passed away, and now my kids will never meet them in the physical. So I just, this is the only reason. This was not to bash Vivica. It's just to bash this mindset that I think that we need to do better on. So that's what I'm looking at it from. That's the standpoint that I'm looking at it from. All right, so let's look at this Method Man video. All right, let's look at this Method Man video. That was enough on Vivica. We wish her the best. Hopefully she gets it together, or hopefully she finds what she's looking for. Because I really don't wish bad on Vivica. I really don't. Even though I'm not a fan of her, like I said, because for whatever reason, some other comments that she made, I think that she's rude, and I think that she's a few other things. But I'm still wishing the best for her. Like, it's to the point where, you know how people say, like, I wouldn't wish that on my enemy, on my worst enemy. Like I've heard, like I'm watching all these Gangs of London and stuff. Maybe in my mind, I'm thinking like I wouldn't wish jail. I wouldn't wish prison on my worst enemy. I wouldn't wish single loneliness, especially in later years, on my worst enemy. I really wouldn't. You know, it is what it is. It is what it is. All right, so let's get to this Instagram. Listen to this Method Man video. So it says, here's a clip of Method Man in 1995 predicting, wait, y'all can see it. All right, making sure y'all can see it. Predicting the pandemic, the election, and everything going on now. The last artist I seen predict the future like this was Kayard. Flacco with the scene. All right, let's take a listen.
Today's youth is crazy angry and they're learning faster. And America is scared to death of that shit. They gonna blow us up before they let us come into power. You can believe that shit. All that shit's gonna burn. All of it.
So you believe in some kind of Armageddon?
Yeah, most definitely. We in the last times and days right now. The Illuminati's in effect. See, the Illuminati ain't nothing but like it's gonna be a second Great Depression out here in America. Except this time, corporate America's prepared themselves for it. Meaning they're when it hits, their money is gonna be safe. As far as the rest of us that don't own our own businesses and things of that nature, so bad, we're gonna be killing each other in the streets, man. Mad Max and Beyond Terror Dome and all that, it's gonna be on, man. And they're gonna have to blow us up, which is what they're gonna do. They're gonna inject us with these, they're gonna say it's like for everybody mandatory AIDS testing because AIDS is so widespread. They're gonna be giving them vaccines for it so they don't catch it up. Today's youth is crazy angry and they're learning fast.
I heard that B word.
Shit off top like measles, mumps and stuff like that. But in all actuality, what they're doing is putting microchips in and your babies so they can keep tabs on where you're at.
Now, regardless of whether or not you believe that, that was something that came out during the pandemic, which a lot of people were saying, I don't know where it came from. So remember, this is 30 years ago. So I had never heard of, I hadn't seen this video. I didn't hear of people talking about microchips being injected into people until 2020. So I don't know what Meth knew, what books he was reading. I don't know, but it seems pretty, I don't know. Maybe he was just seeing things a little bit clearer than us. Let's keep going.
That's deep. That's deep. They're not even using money anymore as far as paper. It's going to be cards to show what status you are, how financially well off you are, or whatever. You know, what do you own, and it'll tell everything about you.
Isn't that like what China does? When they have, don't they have like these cards or these, some type of, I don't know if it's surveillance, but I forget exactly what it's called, but it's like your social score or something like that. I forget exactly what it is.
Whoa. Welfare is gone. They just going, funds for schooling, gone. Everything is they just throwing it all back. They're building, what they're trying to do now is just build their fortress for the bigger war, because they know too that we're in the last times and days. And America's done so much fucked up shit across seas that they know it's all got to come back to them. Everything goes around in a cipher, a complete 360-degree circle. And they done did so much fucked up shit overseas, it's got to come back here. We got people in America already rebelling against America, and they're Americans. The Aryan shit off top like measles, mumps and stuff. They blew up the Fed building. Killed all them babies and shit. They like, we don't care, white, black, whatever. I mean, if you're not with the movement, you gotta go. The weak must die. That's how they seeing it. Now you got these crazies over here. Then you got people across seas. They see that. They like, hey, this is our chance to come over here and take everything. Japanese is buying up every corporation and all that. They're gonna have everybody in the mental slavery, physical as well as physical. Word up. It's coming back.
And how do you react to this?
I can't, all I can do is build my own industry to make sure it don't affect me and my family. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Word, start now. Now is the best time. Word up.
Now is the best time. That's why when brothers
say, what time is it? The time is now. For real.
And then how far is the process of building your own industry? It's a never-ending process.
Yeah, it's infinite, man. That's going to be infinite. Because as long as I eat, they going to eat. As long as they eat, I'm going to eat. Nation, they blew up the Fed.
So this is the other guy that they were saying. I haven't listened to his music, but maybe I'll check that out. But like I said, if y'all want to see the video or if y'all want to see those meth videos, just go to Poetic Flacco's page. on Instagram. Hey, yo, look at my boy eyes. Total side note. Look at my bro. Now that I saw it, look at the homie Kyrie, bro. If you from Jersey, then you know. Get it. I just wanted to show that to finish it off. I saw it. But yeah, very, very prophetic. I agree, Uncle Brother. Definitely very prophetic. Hold on 1 second. I just want to finish off with this quick little caption from this Christopher Columbus book. Hold on 1 second. Got it. Got him. All right, where you at? Hold on. All right, so there was a caption in here. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I underlined it. I didn't have my highlighter, but I did underline it. Hold on. Here we go. All right. So this is what we're going to finish it off with. Ant wrote, maybe back in the day, people were right about cameras stealing your soul, LOL, eye recognition. Yo. I think a lot of things that the crazies and a lot of lunatics, that's why when I hear people talking about RFK Jr., calling him a loony and calling him all these things, to me, that's what draws me to somebody, like as far as being intrigued. Why are they calling this person a lunatic? Why are they calling Andrew Tate these things? Why? And I'm not saying that I'm going to, it draws me to them to think that they're right. It draws me to them to look into the things that they're actually talking about and do my own research and then determine such. So let's listen to this. So this is what St. Augustine said in this book. This is a book about, you guys, I don't know if you're familiar, Christopher Columbus, The Four Voyages. Yeah. When the facts are obscure, it is better to exercise doubt than to argue an uncertain case. It is better to doubt what we do not know than to insist on facts that are not proven. Let me say those two sentences again. When the facts are obscure, it is better to exercise doubt than to argue an uncertain case. It is better to doubt what we do not know than to insist on facts that are not proven. Question everything. Rather than pushing things that we have doubt for, I think that's the culture that we've been caught up in a little bit. We've been so cautious to question the things that we doubt that we'll just stand on it no matter what. And I think that that's where we've been led to or misled in a lot of ways. And this can be looked at as across the board. You can look at this across the board. You could look at this in the conversations that we've had on DEI. You could look at when an RFK Jr. brings up something about vaccines or brings up something about the Food and Drug Administration. You could bring up, just think about what Meth was talking about. There's a lot of people that would totally disregard the things that Meth just said in that video. But a lot of the things that he was bringing up, I'm sure there were a lot of doubts at that time about them, but people instead chose to not question the doubt, but to just double down, to insist on facts that are not proven. And I think that's what a lot of us have to be careful about. We should not be hesitant on questioning things. If people are telling you not to question things, if people are telling you not to question this religion, not to question this way of education, not to question anything, I'm very skeptical of that. You should be able to question everything, because when you question things, in my opinion, if somebody's telling you the truth, if you really want to get the proper answer to something, question it. And then once you question something that even if you believe in it, if you then go through the process of doing your research because you questioned it and find out I was exactly right, now you'll have more of an understanding on it. Now you'll be more confident in it. And now you'll understand the process of proving something or doing due diligence on something rather than just trying to prove something that has been unproven. So I don't know, maybe this is more just like a religious culture, because what is religion? What do they get you on, in my opinion? What is the biggest marketing tool of religion? This is just my opinion. I may be totally wrong. To me, the biggest marketing tool of religion is them telling you the two things that we have the most questions about. The two things that we question the most, that are uncertain: where we came from, as far as how this world got here, and what happens to us when we pass away. That has been the biggest marketing tools for religions. They're going to create a story, or they're going to tell us what happened, right? And sometimes when people hear story, they think I'm saying that it's not true. Maybe it's not. You weren't there. I wasn't there. Who knows? We're just reading it in a book. Who wrote the book? You can't tell me. Oh, that person wrote. Okay, well, he said, she said. Do you just believe somebody that tells you everything right now? So what's the difference between that time? Were people more honorable at that time? Maybe. Power was still a thing. I'm sure people still were obsessed with power, and people would do anything to try to control a particular group. So maybe that argument goes out the window. But in my opinion, people are scared, and people would rather lock in with something that's unproven than to risk uncovering something that may not align with their current way of thinking. And that limits us, in my opinion. So I'll leave y'all with that. I'll read the two sentences one more time, and then we'll get into our 45 seconds. When the facts are obscure, it is better to exercise doubt than to argue an uncertain case. It is better to doubt what we do not know than to insist on facts that are not proven. And to me, that's actually what came to mind with a lot of the COVID stuff. Matter of fact, hold on. I'm not going to show y'all that. Maybe we'll show that on the next one. But that, to me, this was 2020 and everything that happened during that time, where people are just insisting on things that are not proven and not willing to question anything because the fear that may come along with everything when you do question. So we'll leave it there. It's almost 10 a.m. Appreciate y'all for tapping in as long. Sorry I haven't been as much involved in the chat. I always appreciate it when y'all give y'all, insights and, give me perspective in the chat. But it seems like y'all, and I want it to be like this, where you guys, there can be its own chat conversation. So I don't need to put every single comment on the site or put everything on the video for it to be relevant. So just know we're looking at it. We're all engaged in the conversation. So it's still relevant, and we still appreciate it, whether I put it up or not. So let's hold on. Levi. Oh, shoot. Levi brought up. Check out Jordan Maxwell. Okay, I'll check out Jordan Maxwell. He's a good resource. We're beyond Jordan's informations these days, but he's still good and always will be. And how about homosexuality within the rap industry? That's another deep dive. That is another deep dive. And it's actually something that has been coming to the forefront now. I just heard a story. If you're familiar with Hassan Campbell and his experience, African Bambaataa, all this. So there's a lot of things that are now being brought to the forefront. We'll see. We'll see what happens with it. Let's do our 45 seconds. So if you're not familiar, if this is your first time joining the show, then you'll know that at the end of every show, we do 45 seconds where we just are still. We clear our mind, we program our mind, whatever it is. You take 45 seconds, do your breath work, manifest, whatever it is that you need to put yourself in the best mindset. So when we get off of this show, we can accomplish our goal. We can strive for our goal of making this our greatest week ever. All right. So 45 seconds, do what you need. I'm going to be inhaling positive energy, exhaling all the negative stuff, and exhaling anything that prevents me, that's trying to, take shots at me from preventing me from getting to my goals. So 45 seconds. Let's go. If you're in a safe place, close your eyes. All right. All right, that was a good one for me. I needed that. Oh yeah, and quick. Oh yeah, make sure that you like. We got 14,000 people in the building. Make sure that you like. That's going to help boost the algorithm. And speaking of reaching out to as many different people as possible, what we are now going to be doing is incorporating some commercials, not really commercials, but we're going to be opening the floor for people to advertise their businesses and services on the page. And for if you do not have a video, let's say like a 15-second video that advertises your businesses and services, we can help you with that. But that's something that we want to start doing, building on that. And it may not be on the live show, but it may be. If you have something that you want to advertise, put in the background, put on the ticker, whatever else, just let us know. And we could talk about that as well. So we'll elaborate on it a little bit more, maybe on Wednesday and throughout the week. But with that, y'all know what it is. Y'all know what it is, what we come here for, to elevate on purpose, both from an intentional standpoint, as well as raising our standards to become the leaders we need to become and to accomplish the things that we set out to accomplish, strength and honor, onward and upward, making sure that it's Monday, right? So what we said, the goal is to make this our greatest week ever. So there's certain things that we need to think about. And when we talk about getting to that bag, those things that are going to make sure that we're making this the greatest week ever, that's the things that we're collecting in our bag. And those are the things that we're focusing on as we strive for purposeful abundance. And yeah, that's it. What's in my bag? Peace, love, happiness, health, wealth, and everything that we do. Integrity. Uncle Brother sent the gang. Y'all know what it is. Aunt sent the... Y'all have a good week. Hold on. Somebody got to write the fire emoji for Queez. I don't know how to write the emojis. But yeah, y'all know quick. Aunt always coming through. Mama Lay. Appreciate all y'all. Love y'all. And I look forward to connecting with y'all on Wednesday. Keep sending the videos. Aunt always sends me some great videos. I got a bunch to review today. And yeah, appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all soon. Ew.